spring fever hitting you hard? You're staring out the window at your sleeping garden, just itching to get your hands dirty, but you're not sure where to even begin in March. You might think it's still too early, or maybe you feel a little overwhelmed. But what if I told you that the work you do right now, in March, is the secret key that unlocks your most successful harvest ever? In this video, we're going through the ultimate step-by-step checklist of 20 essential tasks for your garden in March of 2026. By the end of this, you'll have a clear, actionable plan to get a massive head start on the season, avoiding common mistakes and setting yourself up for a garden that will be the envy of the neighborhood. So grab a notepad and let's dig in. Before we jump into our checklist, let's talk about why March is such a pivotal and sometimes tricky month. It's a month of transition. In some regions, snow might still be on the ground, while in others, the daffodils are already blooming. This is why the single most important piece of context for any gardener is their specific climate. You need to know your USDA plant hardiness zone. This will dictate the timing for many of the steps we're about to discuss. Think of March not as a month for planting, but as a month for preparation. It's the pre-season training for your garden. The plans you finalise, the soil you build, and the seeds you start indoors are the foundation upon which your entire glorious summer and fall garden will be built. Rushing things now leads to failure later, but patient, methodical preparation in March is your ticket to a stress-free and productive season. Our first task is to finalise your garden plan. This isn't about daydreaming anymore. It's about making decisions. Pull out that rough sketch you've been working on and get specific. Where are the tomatoes going to go this year to get the most sun? It's crucial to practice crop rotation, meaning you shouldn't plant the same family of vegetables in the same spot you did last year. This simple practice dramatically reduces the buildup of soil-borne pests and diseases. For example, move your tomatoes to where your beans were and your broccoli to where your squash was. Use your notes from 2025. What worked well? What was a total failure? Maybe that zucchini plant took over half the garden. Plan for a smaller variety this year. A solid written plan prevents impulse buys at the nursery and ensures every plant has the space and conditions it needs to thrive. This is your architectural blueprint for the entire season. Next up, it's time to order your seeds and any plants you want to start from bare root. Do not delay this step. The best and most interesting varieties of seeds sell out surprisingly fast. By the time March rolls around, popular types of tomatoes or unique flower seeds might already be gone from major suppliers. Go through your finalised garden plan and make a detailed list of everything you need. This is also the perfect time to decide if you want to try something new. Maybe a different variety of heirloom carrot or a flower you've never grown before. When ordering, consider your sources. Local seed companies often carry varieties that are well suited to your specific region. Ordering now ensures you'll have everything on hand when the ideal seed starting window opens in your area. There's nothing more frustrating than being ready to plant and realising your seeds are still in the mail. Let's move from the desk to the shed. It's time to clean, disinfect, and sharpen your tools. This is a task many people skip, but it is absolutely vital for a healthy garden. Throughout last season, your shovels, trowels, and especially your pruners came into contact with various soil pathogens and plant diseases. Starting the new season with dirty tools is like a surgeon operating with unsterilised instruments. You risk spreading diseases like blight or fungal spores to your new, vulnerable plants. Take some time to scrape off all the caked-on mud, give them a good wash with soap and water, then disinfect them. A simple solution of 1 part bleach to 9 parts water works well, or you can use rubbing alcohol. Most importantly, sharpen the blades on your pruners, loppers, and shovels. A sharp tool makes a clean cut, which heals faster on the plant and reduces the risk of infection. It also makes your job much easier. While you're outside, take a walk around your garden and carefully inspect all your structures. Winter weather, with its cycles of freezing and thawing, can wreak havoc on garden infrastructure. Check your raised beds for any boards that are rotting or bowing out. Make sure the screws or nails are still secure. Examine your trellises and pergolas. Are the posts still solid in the ground? Are any wires or strings broken? This is the time to make repairs before the structures are covered in plants and difficult to access. Look at your fences and gates. A small hole in a fence is an open invitation for rabbits and other critters who would love to feast on your tender spring seedlings. Making these repairs now on a mild March day is far more pleasant than discovering a collapsed trellis covered in tomato vines in the middle of July. A little preventative maintenance goes a long way. Now for some satisfying physical work, the great spring clean-up. It's time to clear out all the debris that has accumulated over the winter. Rake away the last of the fallen leaves, especially from your lawn and garden beds, as they can smother new growth and harbour slug eggs. Pick up any fallen branches or twigs. This is also your first and best chance to get a jump on the weeds. Weeds like chickweed and dead nettle are often the first things to green up in the spring. Pulling them now while they are small and their roots are shallow is incredibly easy compared to battling them when they're established. Be careful not to walk on your garden beds if the soil is very wet, as this will cause compaction. If the soil is workable, a light cultivation can expose even more weed seeds to the air and disrupt their life cycle. A clean slate makes all the subsequent steps easier and more effective. March is the prime time for pruning many types of trees and shrubs, but you have to know which ones to tackle. The general rule is this: prune summer flowering shrubs now, but leave spring flowering shrubs alone. Why? Shrubs that bloom in the summer, like hydrangea paniculata or butterfly bush, form their flower buds on new growth, the branches that will grow this spring. So pruning them now encourages vigorous new growth and more flowers. However, shrubs that bloom in the spring, like lilacs, forsythia, and rhododendrons, have already set their flower buds on last year's wood. If you prune them now, you'll be cutting off all of this year's flowers. Wait to prune those until right after they finish blooming. This is also a good time to prune many fruit trees, like apples and pears, to shape them and improve air circulation. Always prune out any dead, damaged or diseased branches first, no matter the plant. This next step is arguably the most important and the most often ignored. Get a soil test. Gardeners often love to guess what their soil needs. They'll throw on some generic fertilizer or lime and hope for the best. But that's like taking medicine without a diagnosis. You could be making things worse. A soil test is a simple and inexpensive way to know exactly what is going on beneath the surface. You can get a kit from your local cooperative extension office or buy one online. It will tell you your soil's pH level, whether it's acidic or alkaline, which affects how plants absorb nutrients. It will also reveal any major nutrient deficiencies, like a lack of phosphorus or potassium. Without this information, you're just gardening in the dark. Getting a soil test done in early March gives you plenty of time to receive the results and make the necessary adjustments before you start planting. Once you have the results from your soil test, or even if you just know your soil needs a general boost, it's time to amend your soil. Healthy soil is the foundation of a healthy garden. The single best amendment for almost any soil type is compost. Compost adds vital organic matter, which improves the structure of both heavy clay and sandy soils. It helps with water retention, improves drainage, and provides a slow-release source of nutrients for your plants. March is the perfect time to spread a generous 1 to 2 inch layer of compost over all of your garden beds. You can gently work it into the top few inches of soil, or simply leave it on top as a mulch, letting the earthworms do the work for you. If your soil test indicated specific needs, now is the time to address them. Add lime to raise the pH of acidic soil, or sulfur to lower the pH of alkaline soil. Add bone meal for phosphorus, or green sand for potassium. Feed the soil, and the soil will feed your plants. Speaking of compost, if you don't have a compost pile or bin, March is the perfect time to start one. Composting is the ultimate act of garden recycling. It turns your kitchen scraps and yard waste into black gold for your plants, and it's easier than you think. Find a level, well-drained spot in your yard. You can buy a pre-made bin or build a simple enclosure with pallets or wire fencing. The key to successful composting is balancing greens and browns. Greens are nitrogen-rich materials like fruit and vegetable scraps, coffee grounds, and fresh grass clippings. Browns are carbon-rich materials like dried leaves, straw, shredded newspaper, and small twigs. A good rule of thumb is to aim for about 2 to 3 parts browns to 1 part green. Starting your pile now means it will have a few months to start breaking down and will be ready to provide you with a continuous supply of free, high-quality soil amendment. Now we move indoors to prepare for the new life of the season. It's time to set up your indoor seed starting station. Don't just stick your seed trays on a sunny windowsill. In most climates, this provides inadequate light, leading to weak, leggy seedlings that struggle when transplanted. For the best results, you need a dedicated setup. This doesn't have to be expensive. A simple shelving unit with standard fluorescent shop lights or LED lights hanging just a few inches above the trays is perfect. You'll also need clean seed trays or pots, a spray bottle for gentle watering, and a high-quality, sterile seed starting mix. Do not use garden soil, which is too heavy and can contain diseases. A heat mat placed under your trays can also significantly speed up germination for heat-loving plants like peppers and tomatoes. Get everything clean, organised, and ready to go before you even open a seed packet. With your seed starting station ready, it's time to sow your first seeds. We begin with the long season vegetables. These are the plants that need a very long time to grow, from seed to harvest, and they require a significant head start indoors. This category primarily includes peppers, tomatoes, and eggplants. Check the back of your seed packets. They will tell you to start them indoors, typically 6 to 8 weeks before your last average frost date. For many people, this means starting them sometime in March. Fill your trays with pre-moistened seed starting mix, plant the seeds to the recommended depth, and label everything meticulously. Trust me, you will not remember which pot has which variety of tomato. Proper labelling is a lifesaver. Place the trays on a heat mat if you have one, and cover them with a humidity dome or plastic wrap to keep the moisture in until they germinate. The journey has begun. It's not just about the vegetables. March is also the ideal time to start many hardy annual flowers indoors. These are flowers that can tolerate a little bit of cool weather and will benefit greatly from an early start. Giving them a head start inside means you'll have bigger, more robust plants to set out in the garden after the last frost, which translates to earlier and more prolific blooms. Great candidates for March sowing include snapdragons, pansies, petunias, and lisianthus, which has a particularly long germination period. Just like with your vegetables, follow the instructions on the seed packet for planting depth. Some flower seeds are tiny and require light to germinate, so they should just be pressed gently onto the surface of the soil. Starting these flowers now will fill your garden with colour weeks earlier than if you were to direct sow them outside later in the spring. Your seeds have sprouted, and now you have tiny green seedlings. Congratulations! But the work is just beginning. Caring for these baby plants is a delicate process. First, as soon as they sprout, remove the humidity dome and get them under lights immediately. The lights should be on for about 14 to 16 hours a day and positioned only 2 to 3 inches above the tops of the seedlings. As the plants grow, you must raise the lights. Proper watering is also critical. Let the soil surface dry out slightly between waterings to prevent a fungal disease called damping off, which kills seedlings at the soil line. It's best to water from the bottom by placing the trays in a shallow pan of water and letting the soil soak it up. This encourages deep root growth. Finally, you may need to thin your seedlings. If you planted 2 or 3 seeds per cell, choose the strongest looking one and snip the others at the soil line. It's tough, but it's necessary for a healthy plant. Back outside, let's play detective. On a mild March day, take a close look at your garden beds and perennial plants for any early signs of pests and diseases. Many garden pests and their eggs can overwinter in the soil or in plant debris. Look for things like slug and snail eggs, which look like small, gelatinous pearls, often hiding under leaves or pots. Turn over some soil and look for the pupae of pests like cutworms. If you find any, remove and destroy them. This is a form of integrated pest management that can save you a lot of trouble later. Also, examine the crowns of your perennial plants, like peonies or phlox. Do you see any signs of powdery mildew or other fungal issues on the old stems from last year? If so, be sure to clean up and dispose of that material away from your compost pile. Early detection and prevention are your best weapons in the fight against garden pests and diseases. Is your garden expanding this year? If you're planning to create new garden beds, March is the absolute best time to do it. You can prepare the ground now, and it will have time to settle, and for the organic matter to begin breaking down before you plant in it. One of the easiest and most effective methods for creating a new bed is called lasagna gardening, or sheet mulching. You don't even have to dig up the existing sod. Simply lay down a layer of cardboard or several layers of newspaper directly on top of the grass. This will smother the grass and weeds. Then start layering your green and brown materials on top, just like a compost pile. A layer of straw, a layer of grass clippings, a layer of shredded leaves, a layer of kitchen scraps, and so on. Top it all off with a thick layer of finished compost or garden soil. By the time you're ready to plant, the layers will have started to decompose, creating a rich, fertile and weed-free bed for your new plants. For those of you in warmer climates, or as March progresses in cooler zones, you might be able to start planting some things directly in the garden. We're talking about cool weather crops. These are vegetables that not only tolerate, but actually prefer the cool soil and air of early spring. This group includes peas, spinach, radishes, lettuce, kale, and other hardy greens. The key is to know your soil temperature. You can use a simple soil thermometer to check. Most of these crops will germinate once the soil temperature is consistently above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 4 degrees Celsius. Don't just go by the calendar. Feel the soil. If it's still soggy and cold, wait. Planting in soil that is too wet can cause seeds to rot. But if the conditions are right, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing those first rows of green pop up while there's still a chill in the air. Early spring is the ideal time to plant bare root trees, shrubs, and perennials. What does bare root mean? It means the plants are shipped to you while they are dormant without any soil around their roots. This might look a little strange, but it's a fantastic and very economical way to add new plants to your garden. Because they are dormant and lightweight, they are much cheaper to ship than potted plants. You can find a huge variety of things sold bare root, from fruit trees and raspberry canes to asparagus crowns and daylilies. When they arrive, you'll want to soak their roots in a bucket of water for a few hours to rehydrate them. Then, plant them in your prepared garden beds as soon as possible. The goal is to get them in the ground while the soil is cool and moist, so they can start establishing their root systems before the weather warms up and they are prompted to produce leaves. It's the perfect time to divide any that have become overgrown or are not flowering as well as they used to. Plants like hostas, daylilies, Shasta daisies, and ornamental grasses benefit from being divided every 3 to 5 years. This process rejuvenates the plant and encourages more vigorous growth and blooming. Simply dig up the entire clump of the plant. Then, using a sharp spade, a garden knife, or 2 garden forks back to back, split the clump into smaller sections. Make sure each new section has a good amount of both roots and shoots. You can then replant one section in the original spot and use the other divisions to fill in gaps in your garden or share them with friends and neighbours. It's a win-win situation. Before the busy season really kicks in, take some time to think about water. Water is essential for a healthy garden, and planning your irrigation strategy now will save you time and effort later. If you don't have one already, consider setting up a rain barrel. It's a simple way to collect rainwater from your roof, which is free of the chlorine found in tap water and is great for your plants. It's also environmentally friendly. Also, get out your hoses, sprinklers, and any drip irrigation systems you have. Inspect them carefully for any cracks or leaks that may have developed over the winter. Turn on the water and check all the connections. Replacing a cracked hose or a faulty sprinkler head is a quick and easy job in March. It becomes a major headache in the middle of a hot, dry spell in July when your plants are desperate for a drink. A little proactive maintenance ensures your watering system is ready when you need it most. Finally, our last and perhaps most beneficial long-term task is to start a gardening journal for 2026. Your memory is not as good as you think it is. A journal is an invaluable tool for tracking your successes and failures and becoming a better gardener over time. You don't need anything fancy, a simple notebook will do. Start now, in March. Record what seeds you ordered and when you started them indoors. Make a note of the date you planted your peas outside. Jot down observations about the weather. As the season progresses, you can record when you first harvested your lettuce, or note that a particular variety of tomato was especially prone to blight. This detailed record keeping will be your most trusted guide when you sit down to plan your garden in 2027. It allows you to learn from your own unique experiences in your own unique garden. So there you have it, 20 critical steps to transform your March from a month of waiting into a month of purposeful action. From finalising your plan and cleaning your tools to amending your soil and starting those first precious seeds, you are now armed with a complete roadmap for a successful 2026 gardening season. The biggest takeaway here is that a spectacular summer garden isn't the result of frantic work in May. It's built upon the thoughtful, deliberate foundation that you lay right now, in March. You're not just weeding and digging, you're setting the stage for a bountiful harvest and a season of beauty. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this checklist helpful, do us a huge favour and hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the rest of our 2026 gardening series. We have so much more to share with you. And now, I want to hear from you. What is the number one task on your March gardening to-do list? Are you trying anything new this year? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to chat about it.